Hello again, it's Thursday at 4:30 and it's time for our quarantine cooking class. Tonight we're making butter chicken, we're going to make naan, we're going to make rice, we're going to have a great time. Before we get to that, we are starting to put together some videos that we're posting online in our store page. So in addition to some photographs of the store, we're also going to be highlighting some different areas of the store. If you go on there, you'll see Polish pottery and you'll see a really quick little knife tutorial that we've done, and we're just going to keep adding to this. If you guys have any ideas of specific things that you'd like to see ASAP, let us know and we'll try to work on that. We also have posted a number of our wines on our website. You cannot order them on the website, but you can get a good idea of a lot of our most popular wines. So that should help some people that don't really know what they want. Obviously, we can't guarantee that we'll have inventory at any specific time, but we definitely will do our best. Excuse me, that's my onion. Let's get cooking here. The first thing we're going to start is the rice, and this is a really awesome rice hack. If you hate making rice, if it always comes out too wet or you burn it on the bottom, this is the way to make rice. Very simple. It's a 2-to-1 ratio, so 2 parts water. I've got 4 cups of water here, and it's cold water. It's room temperature at this point, but it's not heated up or anything. And 2 cups of rice, so 4 water, 2 rice. And I am going to just stir that up a little bit. Good tight fitting lid. And we're going to turn the heat on there on high. As soon as this comes to a boil, I'm going to turn it off. Don't take the lid off it until you're ready to eat it, but you're going to bring the water to a boil. It's going to cook the rice and steam it as it sits in the pan, and it's going to be perfect when you get ready to eat it.
Does that work with brown rice too, or just white rice?
I don't know if it works with brown rice. It's a great question. I've never tried it with brown rice. You might need to cook that a little bit longer just because it's a little huskier. So let's get started with our chicken. If you're following along with me, hopefully you've already done the marinade for your chicken. If you haven't, it's probably not that big of a deal. Just mix it up now. And there's my carefully measured 2 tablespoons of oil. And what I'm going to do first is brown the chicken. So I put this together a little earlier. This is all the spices and the yogurt. So it's just been sitting here absorbing the flavors. And it's going to be super aromatic and really tasty. We use Griffin Ridge spices for the most part. We love Griffin Ridge. Cheers, Christine, if you're watching. And we have lots of different products from them, herbs and spices and spice mixes and rubs and all kinds of good stuff. So tonight I'm using an Emile Henry Dutch oven. It's made of burgundy clay, so it's a little different than a cast iron. It's a little bit lighter weight, but it can go on the stovetop, it can go in the oven. They're really versatile. I have a bunch of these at home and I love them. They're really nice looking to serve on the table, and just really great product. So check them out sometime if you haven't already. And I'm just gonna brown this in batches. And the chicken does not need to be cooked all the way through right now because we're going to add it back into the sauce once the sauce is done and let it simmer in the sauce for a little while. So really we just want to get a little bit of color on it for now. Love making Indian food. There's often a lot of ingredients involved, but the recipes in general are pretty easy to follow, as long as you have all of the different spices and spice mixes. And it just makes your house smell so good all the time that you're cooking and eating it, and it's just wonderful. You can make this spicy if you want to. Ours is very mild. There's a little bit of chili powder in it, but nothing super spicy. If you wanted to add a little bit of cayenne or something to it, if you really do like it spicy, go for it. So I am going to stir this up a little. And I have this on pretty high heat because I just want to get some color on the chicken. I'm not trying to cook it through, as I said. Oh. And I find the really flavorful, really spicy things, for whatever reason, are awesome on a hot day. I don't know why that is, but it just is really appealing to me for some reason. It's very humid today here in Maine, our first good hot, humid day. I wish we had smell-o-vision because this is really magnificent. All right. So we're also going to be making a naan today. If you prepped it before, I'm just going to mix up a batch, and then I have a batch already mixed up, so we'll cook that as well. But it does need a little while to rise. So if you haven't mixed it up yet, you might still be able to do it if you're eating later on today. Uses the instant yeast, so it's pretty quick rise if you put it somewhere warm. And naan is very similar to, if you've ever made Greek pita, which is a flatbread that is cooked in a cast iron pan. It's very similar to that. The biggest difference is that naan has egg and yogurt in it, which makes it kind of a more creamy kind of bread. It's probably not the great word for it, but you'll see when you try it. Alrighty, and our rice is coming along. It doesn't look like it's boiling yet, so I'm going to leave that. This is a great dish for people that, like I said, if you like Indian food, but you don't really like the hot, spicy vindaloos and stuff like that, this is a really nice family kind of meal. Great for kids. And it is called butter chicken, but there's really very little butter in it. It gets its name from the really creamy sauce. We're going to put tomatoes and cream and stuff in here and puree it really well, and it's just going to be really, really beautiful. Okay. So I'm going to take out this batch. Probably could brown a little bit more, but in the interest of keeping our video shorter than an hour, we will move this on. And I'm not worried about it kind of cooking onto the pan because we're going to be cooking onions and the sauce right in here, so it's going to just absorb that nice brown caramelization there. Oh, and there goes our rice, and I'm just turning that off. And I'm not going to touch it. I'm not taking the lid off. I'm just going to leave it as is, and we'll forget about that until we want to eat it. So, I'm going to add just a little bit more oil. I've absorbed a lot of what I put in there already. And I'm just trying to get each side of the chicken, cube chickens. This is all chicken breasts. You can use chicken thighs. The chicken thighs tend to be a little moister, so you might find that your sauce is a little bit runnier. It shouldn't make a huge difference, but you may find that that does make some little difference. And that's looking pretty good.
Can you talk about the pot again?
The pot. The pot is made by Emile Henry. It's a French company. They have a great website, actually, and stories about how the pots are made. It's made of a burgundy clay, and It's really resilient. I mean, if you drop it on your granite countertop, you might do it some damage, but it's they're really easy to clean. They're enameled inside and out, so they're really easy to scrub out. And they're just great for, you know, you can brown something and then put it right in the oven in the same pot, and it's just really lovely. I've got quite a few pieces at home, including tagines and Dutch ovens and some other things that I can't recall offhand. But I love their products. So you can see it's browning right onto the pan here, and that's going to add a lot of flavor to our sauce, so we're not going to worry about that. I am going to turn the heat down just a little bit. It's on medium-low right now. And I'm going to put some butter in here. Very squishy, soft butter because it's so warm today. And then I'm going to put that on low, and I'm going to chop my onion, which I probably should have done ahead. But when in doubt, just turn down the heat. And you can dice these. I'm going to julienne it, which means cutting it into thin strips. But you can cut it into chunks however you like it. I just like to have a little bit to be able to see the onion in the sauce, although actually it's going to be pureed, so you're not going to see it anyway. Okay. So that's 1 medium onion, my 2 tablespoons of butter. You can use butter or ghee. Ghee is just a clarified butter. Doesn't have the milk fats in it. And either way is just fine. So we're going to just brown this for a couple of minutes. And I'm going to grab a metal spatula and see if I can scrape some of that good caramelized chicken. It is hot. Once we get the sauce in there, all the liquid, they're going to be just great. And I would like to, since I've grabbed this pot holder, I'd like to give a little shout out. These are made here in Bath. They're made of, it's like a welder's apron material, so it's like a leather suede. It's 2 layers, and these things are awesome. You can pick up almost anything that's super hot with these, and you won't feel a thing. And they come in lots of pretty colors, too. Okay, so that's coming along pretty well. And next, I have to cheat a little bit here. So, I'll give that just another moment. So I wanted to show you the garlic twist if you've not seen this before. I love this thing. So I just put my garlic clove in here and squash it a little bit and turn it. And you can keep it pretty coarse like that, or you can just keep turning and turning. You can pretty much liquefy it. And it's fabulous, easy to clean. Just run it under water, swizzle it around in your soap dish, not your soap dish, in your sink, your dish washing water, and just rinse it off before the garlic dries onto that. So this is 3 cloves of garlic. We've got fresh ginger, which I shredded up on the microplane. We've got cumin. We've got garam masala, ground coriander, excuse me, chili powder, salt, and pepper. And I'm just going to let those cook in there just for a minute, just to toast a little bit, if you will. And then I'm going to add crushed tomatoes. I couldn't find a small can, so this is half of a big can. 14 ounces, big cans are 28 ounce. And this is still on low. And I'm just gonna let this simmer a little bit. And we're gonna make some naan. All the good stuff in there. All right, let's make sure I have everything. The key, the onion, garlic, ginger, cumin, got it all. Okay, so that is on low heat, and I'm just gonna let that simmer for a little bit, and we'll put together our naan dough. Okay, so we've got warm water. It's not hot, but it is warm. We've got our yogurt. And I like to use a Greek yogurt. It's a little thicker, and I think it's a little nicer for cooking with. Olive oil, 3 tablespoons. There we go. And then we're going to bake it. We're going to mix this up just a little bit. And I'm going to whisk in the egg. If you can also whisk this or beat it with a fork and then add it. And I need some sugar, teaspoon of sugar, half a teaspoon of salt, and then the eggs. And I made a couple of batches of this, and I'm finding that it says 2.5 to 3 cups of flour. I think 3 cups is better. I'm going to add my yeast in there and mix that in. And then we'll measure out our flour. And this is super easy. It's like the no knead bread the other day that we made. Doesn't need to be kneaded a whole lot. It just needs to be mixed together. Okay, 3 cups. I'm just going to give this a quick stir. And so I'm just mixing in the flour, trying not to poof it all over the place. It's pretty raggy dough at the moment, but it's all going to mix in pretty well. And I'll knead it all in with my fingers, with my hands. So you just want to get it nicely mixed in. And we're almost there. And then this is going to sit, because we're using the instant yeast in this, on a nice warm day, probably a half an hour to 45 minutes is all you're going to need to rise it. You want it to double in size. If you're using regular yeast, it will take a little longer, and you want to proof it first by putting it in some warm water until it gets all bubbly, then add all the rest of your ingredients. Okay, so let's put a little oil. And that's good. And I'm just going to exchange it. And here's my dough that I made earlier. It's doubled in size. As you can see, it's quite a lot more in there, and it's pretty soft and poofy. And I am going to cut this into 8 pieces. And you can either roll this out I usually just use my hands to flatten it. Doesn't have to be an exact circle. Okay, and then if you want to follow me over here, you can see that our pan is smoking hot. And I'm just going to plop that on there. I'm just going to make one right now because otherwise I'd have to turn on the fan and it would get loud. But it's really very easy.
What kind of pan is that?
This is a Finex cast iron pan. You definitely want to use cast iron. Do not use non-stick because it can't take the heat that you need to really brown this. We carry Finex and we also carry Lodge. Finex are designed in Oregon, but they're actually, believe they go to a foundry in Vermont, so they're actually made pretty near here. Beautiful pans. It's got a stay cool handle. It will get hot if you put it in the oven, but just right here, this has been on high for quite a few minutes, and I'm able to just hold on to that, and it feels cool. And we're going to flip that. So this is a lot like making tortillas. You may have joined us for the tortilla class before. And I'm just going to, I have some butter here that I've melted with garlic. And I'm just going to brush that on the top. Try not to drop those on my head again like I did last time. And you can see it's brown on the bottom. And that is a naan right there. So super easy, really quick and easy to cook, and delicious to eat. And I'm going to turn off our sauce now and go back and look at my recipe quickly. Okay. So I am going to puree this with an immersion blender, and it's a little shallow, so beware. Stand back. Try not to burn anybody here. This is a great tool for pureeing things right in the pan, so you don't have to wash out a blender or food processor. And I am all about not having to do more dishes. So one thing is you want to make sure that it is immersed before you turn it on, or it will splatter all over the place. I'm actually going to pick this up a little so it's a little deeper. So if you make a lot of pureed soups or pureed really nice smooth sauces, this is a tool that is definitely something you should have in your kitchen. And they're not that expensive. This is I think it's $39.99 for just a quick and easy from Cuisinart. It's got 2 speeds. And you might be able to see it kind of spitting a little bit there. That's what you want to avoid because the sauce is very hot. And it might have been better to do this in a smaller pan, but you live and learn, right? Like that. That's what you want to avoid. Okay, so that is done there. And we're going to stir in our cream, which is still in the fridge. And this is a pint, so I'm going to do half of this because we just need a cup. That looks good. And again, the aroma from this is just unbelievable. So that is all mixed in, and I'm going to put the chicken back in. And along with all the juices from the chicken, you want all of that good flavor in there. And I'm going to turn this back on low and stir this in. And we're just going to let this cook probably for another 10 minutes before we serve it. But I want to show you what the rice looks like. Grab the spoon. So it hasn't probably been a half an hour yet, but it's pretty close. But as you can see, beautiful, fluffy rice. It's still nice and hot, and that's going to be perfect for serving your butter chicken, or wrap up your butter chicken in naan with a little rice. And for beverages tonight, we've got some brown ale from Foundation and from, is it Bunkers? Or if you prefer wine, the Ravine's Gewürztraminer. This is from upstate New York, from the Finger Lakes, $19.99. A nice rosé, $14.99, or a light red, $21.99. This is from France, and this is a Kermit Lynch selection, so you know it's going to be good. And that's it for butter chicken, folks. I hope you enjoy it. Don't forget to check out our new videos. Send us questions. What?
Schedule an appointment. Appointments.
Oh, and set up appointments. Sorry about that. So we are setting up appointments, and we're still doing curbside by phone. So give us a call, 443-1402, or on our email, sales@acook'semporium.com. And we hope to see you soon. Thank you.